All right. Welcome to. I've kept this. I think I'm going to keep it. I quite like it. I have a thing about drawing stuff on post-it notes. Join the Dots Forward, Season 1, Episode 4. Today's discussion is going to be about growth. So, facial growth, facial non-growth.
If we're talking about growth, can we talk about facial non-growth? Or should we skip over that, save that for another week?
What is facial non-growth? I don't even know what I meant by that. By saying that
piercing that you've got. That's
yeah.
facial.
What about that? Facial not. Oh, I see. Okay, it's not naturally part of my face.
Well, it's also not growing. At least I hope it's not growing.
No, it's not growing unless I put a bigger one in. Then it would be growing. But we look different this week because we are both participating in Movember. And you think that mine looks shaped?
Yeah, so it looks like, I mean, it may just be the way that your facial hair comes through. It may be the lighting, it may be the camera, who knows? But it looked like you'd shaved your chin and then you'd shaved down and then across, leaving kind of a triangle. Yeah, there.
Like the shadow.
Is it the shadow?
I think that's just the shadow of my mic.
Okay.
That side.
It looked like you'd shaped it there and you were going to do some kind of, trucker / something. Yeah.
Right, so it goes down and then along.
Side there.
Ideas. I'm looking for ideas.
So I shaped mine this morning. I know, you can't really see it.
I can't see anything. Oh, yes. Can see a little bit of a point going at the bottom there.
And it's hard to see. And also I've got like a day's growth everywhere else now. So it's sort of disguising it a little bit. But it's actually going here.
Yeah.
And then down here.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I can't see it, but wow.
Yeah, it's the day's growth that is sort of hiding it because it's only got yesterday.
That requires effort.
1 day's head start on the rest of my face, right?
That requires effort. This is seventh year in a row I'm doing Movember, but it's I think I've done it like 10 times. Mine always goes nothing for a week. 10 days in, suddenly, oh, you've got a moustache. The door just opened behind you.
That would be my firstborn.
Oh, okay. Oh, and
to disrupt.
Oh, hi.
Disrupt.
I'm being joined by a wife on a live stream. She's live on YouTube.
Live on YouTube. Say hi, YouTube. Say hi, YouTube.
Look what this wife has got.
Okay. You go with Mum. Okay, go. Growth.
Good. The hair has grown for sure.
Yeah, we got hair.
Albie, your hair is long.
Here, come show James how long your hair is now. Here, hold on.
Wow.
He's in the middle of a live stream on YouTube. No, he's participating. Here, so.
Okay, that's long. That looks like a child is being home educated hair.
Yeah, home educated in Totnes.
Is that a thing? Is that actually there probably is probably is a.
Totnes is a thing. Totnes is like known for being, one of the most alternative towns in the UK, along with say Glastonbury and maybe Hebden Bridge or Frome, or no, not even Frome. It's more. It's known for being alternative like Glastonbury in a slightly different way though.
Totnes had its own currency for it, didn't it?
Totnes still does.
Still
got the Totnes pound.
Oh, it does. Okay.
It's also the town where the whole transition town movement started. If you're familiar with transition towns.
No.
Transition towns. I'm going to bodge this because it's actually not something that I know masses about, even though I live down here. What?
This is a cup.
Thanks.
Put tea in it.
Put tea in it. Okay.
Isn't that a funnel? In which case it will all fall out.
And put tea in it.
Okay. He's gone to get tea, hasn't he? Oh dear. Transition town.
Transition towns are, it's a global movement that started here to transition from being oil dependent to oil independent.
Okay.
That's the basic thrust of it. So a self-sufficient, self-sustaining community.
Okay. By the way, we have one of my pupils watching.
Great. Hi. Do we know who it is?
His name is Samraj.
Hi, Samraj.
He's one of the ones who watched myself and Willem afterwards whilst drunk and said it was really good.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I hope we can live up to that standard, clear that bar.
I think so. Oh, we've got two peoples watching.
Okay, great.
Livia's watching as well.
Okay, great. Lydia or Livia?
Livia.
Livia.
So you were explaining transition towns.
Yeah.
Set up as a movement to not...
It started here in Totnes and has now grown and branched out all over the world. Yeah.
Oh, and you said that it's a not using oil thing.
Yeah, it's to transition from being oil dependent to oil independent. So there's quite a thriving community of people who grow their own food and local trade, and that's kind of where the Totnes pound fits in, because it creates a local economy that's independent of a national or a global economy,
and it can grow itself.
Yeah,
linking into growth. So before I do want to loop back and talk a bit about moustache growth and why we're doing it, because I think that's what we started with before we got interrupted by
the firstborn,
some little kid. So there's two reasons I'm doing Movember. The first one, so I did an assembly last year in school all about what does it mean to be a man. I got 5 friends. I think you know all of them. Actually, you know 4 of them, or 3 of them, whose dads all commit suicide. And that was, I was shocked that I knew that many people whose dads committed suicide. One of whom is an ex-pupil. And I thought, this men's mental health is really important. Men's health is really important. And that's why I do Movember every year. That's one of the big reasons I do Movember every year. The second reason, and for those 2 people watching, they don't know this yet, but I have posted about it on my Instagram, posted about it on my Facebook. I've told everyone, all my colleagues, I've told my form, and I've told 1 other pupil who asked me in private, and he's someone I get on really well with. So the other reason I'm doing it is because
you've also put it on your Movember page.
I have now, yes. It's on my Movember page, yes. I can give a bit more detail here. I put it on my Movember page once it was on Facebook and on my Instagram. But on September the 17th, I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. And September the 30th, so it was, and then I had a CT scan. There was no spread. Testicular cancer doesn't spread. I had surgery on September the 30th. They got out all the cancerous material. I've had a meeting with the cancer hospital, and they've said, you don't need chemotherapy, you don't need radiotherapy, you're going to be kept under surveillance. And what that means is blood tests every 3 months, a CT scan every 6 months to check if it comes back. There's an 80% chance I'll be fine and it won't come back. So I've been kept under surveillance for 5 years. In the first 2 years, if it doesn't come back in the first 2 years, massively unlikely to come back. So that's another big reason why I'm doing Movember for men's mental health, men's cancers, testicular cancer. So I'm saying I'm someone who's surviving cancer now, not a cancer survivor yet, but surviving cancer. And
that's a really nice
distinction. A really nice what distinction?
A really nice distinction to make
between
being a survivor and surviving.
Do you think?
Yeah. Given that it was one of the things that I asked you about, what was it, like 2 weeks ago, that I said, would you call yourself cancer survivor at this point, post-op?
Yeah.
And I think, you could probably legitimately say you are, given that, they removed all cancerous material, and yet you haven't yet been given the all clear, 3, 6, 12 months, 2 years down the line. But to say, I am surviving it, or even I've survived it.
Yeah.
But it's a little different. It's a little different to I'm a cancer survivor, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. And so I changed my Facebook profile, my Instagram profile, surviving cancer. There's a few more people who joined us on the live stream. Hey, Jack and someone called Oscar, 11 Oscar JJ, who I don't know who that is.
Welcome, Oscar JJ.
Yeah, he's written
Let
or
us
she's
know
written.
who you are.
Yeah, I'll be honest, you two don't know me, but I hope you both enjoy your evenings. And there's an emoji of I don't know what that emoji is. So, yeah, I can't make it out on the screen. So the pupils who are watching, the 3 that are watching, that would be the first time they've heard why I've been off school since September the 17th. And I know the two of them watching, well, one of them watching asked me directly, and I didn't give him a straight answer. I said I was really ill, and now I'm back. And then the other 2, one of them, Livia, says she's like a loyal pupil. Wow. Okay.
We're going to circle back.
And no, she said loyal pupils only. That's what she said. So they both wanted to know today.
Hold on, we're going to circle back to that.
Okay. Her and Samraj both wanted to know, like, am I okay? Or you're writing it down because you tend to forget the circling back, whereas I don't.
Yeah.
They really wanted to know why I was off. Am I okay? And a lot of pupils did, and because they didn't know why I was off. It was also unusual for me to be off. So the theme is growth. Cancer is a course of growth. It's cells that don't stop multiplying. They just keep growing and growing and growing. So doing Movember for men's mental health, men's cancers, and I also have men's fertility as well. I wish Movember would wake up and start raising awareness about that. If 2,100 men are diagnosed with testicular cancer every year, way more men commit suicide. I don't have the numbers on me. I really should have by now. And 1 in 7 couples have issues conceiving. And if you look at all men, and then you take out of the set of all men, you look at the subset of men who have issues conceiving, there's a higher incidence of testicular cancer amongst men who have issues conceiving. I think Movember are missing a massive opportunity to do lots of good for men by talking about men's fertility. But I wrote a series of ranty posts about it 3 or 4 years ago.
I think they have started saying something about men's fertility. I'm pretty sure I saw something, on their website this year. Not in depth, not in detail, but pointing to it at least.
I've been in touch with Movember quite a bit over the years, and I've been in touch with them and given them feedback on their app and like tons of things like that. So if they are, that's great, because there's a big thing there. So that's why, going back to growth, the moustache will be growing, and mine 2 weeks in just seems to suddenly appear.
Yeah.
Nothing, moustache.
I'm voting for the trucker with the triangle. Like it's kind of a flag, trucker with a flag.
Okay. Well, those of you that are watching, let us know suggestions for moustaches. What other comments have we got?
Yeah. And
if
you want to donate, we're going to, James, can you post the team link?
You got the team link? Yeah, I will. Okay, yeah. There's more pupils joined. I've just noticed more pupils have joined.
I'm also obviously growing a moustache, and
just hang on. Before you start saying, Adam, we've got Dan Hudson. Hey Dan, Paddy Hodgson. So Paddy's asked, how's surviving cancer changed your output on life, sir? I think he means outlook. This is a guy who previously told me he wanted to be a journalist and could potentially be applying to Oxbridge and can't articulate himself very well typing. So Paddy, will answer your question. Autocorrect, schmultocorrect. That's terrible. Oh, 11 Oscar JJ wants to donate. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for, the link. Just massively unprepared for lots of people watching. What am I posting again? The link to my...
So James and I are both in a team raising money for Movember. My moustache is also growing. If you've just joined us, it's very difficult to see 3 days in, but it's going to go like this. It's going to go around, down, and then loop back around to here. And this is...
Why are you doing Movember, Adam?
Well, this is my 5th year doing Movember. I discovered. I didn't realize that I'd done it that many times. But it has been a few years since I've done it. And this year, it's largely to stand in solidarity with you, who's been dealing with testicular cancer this year, which is not something that's talked about. It's, you know, and this has given me an opportunity to start to have that conversation with people. You know, I've already started to have that conversation with people, letting them know that I'm going to be raising money for Movember. You know, I've raised, I don't know, what are we at, £700 as a team at this point?
As a team, we're on 771. I'm sorry, I posted the link to me instead of the team. So, you know, just it's all about me.
That's brutal.
It's all about me.
You can take it. That's fine.
I've posted both. People can either sponsor the team or me.
Yeah.
So I've just called Paddy out in his English and he's not very happy about it. Oxbridge laughter, says Jack. Doesn't believe Paddy could get into Oxbridge. Oh, so Paddy's suggestion for a moustache would be a Hitler moustache. I'm not going to do that.
You can take it. That's fine. That's crazy when that happens. How is that?
Jack said something with a really good analogy, but I don't know what it was. Anyway, Adam is growing his. How is Adam growing his beard again? Says Dan.
Okay, I'll show you. So it's going to go down and then loop back around to here. And
nice. And it's not a beard; it's a moustache. If it doesn't join, it's a moustache.
Yeah. If it joins below the mouth, that's classed as a goatee. If it joins at the sideburns, it's classed as a beard. So it's not going to be goatee,
technical stuff.
This is moustache. This is down and around. You could maybe call it a ringmaster, which if you look at my Movember link, will maybe make sense. The link there, I believe, is Circus Boy 1 in that link.
Movember.com, Circus Boy 1, I think.
So you've got all 3 links. You've got James's link, my link, and our joint team link, and feel free to donate to any or all of them.
Yeah, exactly. A $5 on each.
Yeah.
Dan has written, oh, like a flag. You're growing your moustache like a flag. My one's probably going to be like a flag.
Like that.
A curly flag. I don't know what he means.
Yeah, I've never seen a flag like that, but sure, you know, we could call it that. Why not?
We could. Jack Dempsey really wants me to grow a moustache.
Like a trucker, like out and down, and then like with a single bit of bunting on the bottom of each, like a big triangle.
I'm open to suggestions. Not Hitler, obviously, but even though Charlie Brown did have a nice toothbrush moustache and did that whole thing as the dictator, which is a great video. But yeah, I'm open to suggestions, and I'll get lots of Mussolini, Stalin.
What moustaches have you done in the past? Let's just go there quickly.
So my main inspiration is Ben Stiller. For some reason, separate people have said I look like Sacha Baron Cohen.
Agreed.
Or Borat or Ali G. Separate people have also said, yeah. Other people have also said, completely separate groups of people who don't know each other, Asian Ben Stiller. Don't know why. Maybe it's the expressive face. Maybe I'm actually Jewish. I don't know. So thinking about Ben Stiller, Dodgeball,
Yeah.
When my hair was longer, the dodgeball moustache is
The
a
big trucker
possibility.
moustache.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. White Goodman looks like a trucker.
No, but
He
it's
looks
that
like
kind
a
of moustache.
weird
Don't have the,
dodgeballer.
like 70s porn star.
There we go. 70s porn star. That's the
Okay.
other look that I should go for.
Okay, and what else have you done? If you've done it, what did you say?
So
70s?
trucker, yeah, trucker, 70s porn star. I've also done like a thicker moustache just here.
The big slug.
Yeah, like Burt Reynolds.
Okay, Burt Reynolds. Yeah, great.
Yeah, that kind of, which is how my dad had his. But I actually grew the full thing and then shaved it off and just had that.
Yeah.
So, but that's it. I haven't done anything outrageous like you did with the lightning strikes. The zigzag.
Yeah, so I can't remember all the ones I've done. The two that I remember was the worst one was like a pencil thin, like half height, straight, out to about here. Honestly, it was awful. I looked like such a paedophile. It was disgusting. I hated it. Terrible.
They're laughing at the fact you said. They're laughing at the fact you said porn, and it's a sex word. Wonderful. It's the maturity you have to deal with. And now you've just talked about paedophile, so they're going to talk about
and
that.
The worst part of that was that at the time I worked with children, younger than you, like little kids. I worked with little kids, and it was awful. But there you go. And then another year I did sort of a Burt Reynolds-y, just straight up, moustache. And then the good one, the one that I really enjoyed, was a big zigzag that went like out and then down and then up and then down, and then it was like a big lightning strike across my face.
That sounds really cool. The other suggestion I had for my principal was I think he called it like a pilot moustache, like the thin kind of pilot's moustache. And I said, that looks like a used car salesman. He went, yeah, and? So like a really thin one, I might do that, but I don't really know. It's going to be someone else's. Jack Dempsey said a pencil thin moustache as well. But most of these boys, Sam Raj is the only one who could actually has a beard. By the way, the policy changed at our school. Sixth form can have beards and facial hair. So he has a beard. He doesn't want to shave it into a moustache. He says he looks ridiculous with the moustache, which is the whole point. But nobody else who's watching can actually grow a moustache. Oh my God. Paddy Hodgson is saying we should get rid of our principal. Time to go. Stop chatting rubbish, boys. So the theme of today's video is growth. So we talked about moustache growth. We talked about cancerous growth. I want to seamlessly link from cancerous growth. Oh yes, your firstborn's hair's growth. Yes, I do want to link from cancer to the economy, which you haven't heard me say this before until I mentioned it last week.
Before you make a really random tangential connection, can we circle back to loyal pupil?
Yeah.
Because I really like that.
So the comment from Livia was loyal pupils only. That's what she said.
Great, Livia.
Hulk Hogan.
Okay, great, Livia. If you're still there, I'd love to have you say a little bit more about that in the chat. But whilst you do that, I really like that as that is a thing, right? That's like its own thing, that you have loyal pupils. You're a teacher, you're a secondary school teacher, and there are some students that you have who, for want of a better phrase, like identify as being loyal to you in some way. There's something that you create in your classroom, and I'm doing this like because I'm joining a dot from last week when we were talking a lot about learning and education. There's something that you create in your classroom that that allows for that. Not every teacher would be able to say, I've got loyal pupils. And probably every teacher would have pupils that would say, I'm a loyal pupil of theirs. There are probably teachers that go their entire career that never have that. I'm curious as to what that is, what it is that if Livia's still there, I really want to know, like, what is it about James that has you say that? What does he provide?
I'm not James. I'm Mr. D'Souza. I'm actually Sir.
Sorry, Sir.
No, it's fine.
What is it that Mr. D'Souza, who to me has always just been James, provides in the classroom, or allows, or enables, or creates, or whatever it is? Like, what is it that has you say, I'm a loyal pupil of his? So that's a question for Livia, who said it. And then I'm also curious about what you'd say about that as well, because it may well be the same thing. It may well be something entirely different. But I think it's really intriguing.
She's written, we all stand D'Souza and support him through everything. Not sure what that means. Paddy and Raj are talking about going clubs. Dan Hudson has said my looks. Jack Dempsey says my loafers. Yeah, they love my Vivo barefoot shoes, like pancake shoes. There's a nickname, pancake shoes.
Yeah,
that's gone around.
Yeah,
like
they look a bit.
We'll see.
His mouth, right?
Yeah, they do. It's true. And I've got another pair. I've got a brown pair.
Yeah.
The bill of double platypus. So I've got a black pair and a brown pair. The brown pair haven't made a school debut yet, but they will soon. His obeys, says Dan. I'm not sure what he means by that. I haven't got any obey t-shirts at all, but you will obey what I tell you to do, because that's what you're supposed to do in school. We'll see if Livia replies. She might in a bit. Oh, hang on. She did. No. Sam Raj says he creates chaos. Oh, and she's also said, D'Souza asked me the same question earlier. How weird. Oh, Paddy's bringing up the thing about the white poppy. Yeah, I had a conversation with the other teacher about that. I'll come back to that too. So I think what it is that I do, and I'm going to relate it to something we talked about towards the end of every episode we've done, which is the Clifton Strengths profile. So there is a Clifton Strengths profile, Clifton Strengths test for younger people, for use in school, teenagers, students, like that. But Clifton Strengths is all based on positive psychology. And the guy who created it, Don Clifton, he said, what would happen if we studied what's right with people, what's great about people, instead of psychology being obsessed with what's wrong with people? Now, Livia and Samraj teach them both psychology. So one of the things that I like doing is bringing people together and including people. And I think that's what I do in my classroom. I make sure everybody's listened to and make sure everybody has the space to be who they are and express whatever they want to express. So I think that's one of the things that and ultimately people feel safe. Livia forgets that I'm a teacher and F's and blinds like a trooper, forgetting that I'm a teacher, saying, look, you don't have to swear, please use some other form of expression. She could quite easily, but that's one of the things I know she said. She forgets that I'm a teacher. So it's people feeling safe, I think, is really important. And even though sometimes my lessons might look like they're a bit mad, I think that sense of feeling included, listened to, and safe creates that space for loyalty. And the Clifton Strengths profile would say, my number one is what's called connectedness, which is like an understanding of the bigger picture of everything, but also bringing people together. My number two is called includer, which is I want everybody to be part of everything. And I think that's because I felt I never fitted in. So I want to fit in and I want everybody to be part of something.
I think there's something else.
That's my take on it.
What you're saying, in addition to what you're saying, which is that how do I say this? What has to be the case when someone says, I forget that you're the teacher, is that what's being said is, I forget that you're actually in a position of authority here, that you're in charge.
Yeah, and guys, you should go back and watch last week's episode where we talk a lot about learning and schools and the problems with schools and all of that. Adam has been a teacher and he's home educating, unschooling his son. So he's got a lot to say about this. So I'll put a link back. So just go back and watch episode 3 later. But so that's where Adam's coming from. So can you say that again? The whole thing about authority.
So
For someone to say,
what has to be the case for someone to say, "I forget that you're a teacher," is it's akin to saying, "I forget that you're in the position of authority here."
yeah,
I forget that you're a teacher is the same as saying, "I forget that you're in the position of authority in this relationship." Now, if that's the case, that they forget that you're in the position of authority, is that there's a way of relating that you have that puts you on a level playing field. Not like you're no longer the teacher. You are the teacher. They just forget, right? But you relate to them as a person and allow them to relate to you as a person. That's what would have be, "I forget that you're a teacher." And, knowing you, how I know you, and all the conversations that we've had over 20 odd years, is that how you relate to your students is not as student, is not as a subordinate and a literally uniform student, same as everyone else, uniform, but you're actually interested in each of them as individuals. And that ties together with everyone being included, that ties together with everyone being listened to as an individual. Because when you're related to as an individual, you actually create a much stronger relationship than superior to inferior.
Yeah. And Livia's written an answer, which I'll read in a second. And that authority thing is really interesting because Paddy was writing earlier and asking me about white poppies. And white poppy is a peace poppy, different from the red poppy. I wore a white poppy once for 4 hours, and the deputy head received complaints from a number of staff and said I couldn't wear it. And we've got a new member of staff who's all about the white poppy. And he was telling his pupils, and he's the head of RS and philosophy. So him and I told him the story about what happened in White Poppy. He was shocked. We now have a whole new leadership team. So he's going to be selling white poppies, which I think is great. And there is a sense of Paddy wrote that, and I think a sense of wanting young people to find who they are. Now, what Livia said was that I'm not patronizing just because I have the authority. I value all the crap that comes out of our mouths.
Yeah.
First of all, Livia, I would say most of what you say, Livia, isn't crap. Most of what people say isn't crap. It's just like, well, what's going on with them? Even somebody, like Jack, who can be really irritating, or whichever people can be really irritating. Even, there are other people that can be really irritating. What comes out of their mouth, it's not crap. It's just what's going on with you and what you're saying. So it's interesting because what she's written is similar to what you said, Adam.
Yeah.
And a pupil who left, Dan, is asking, am I back at school then? Yes, I am. And then he's saying, did he say what happened to him? Yes, I did, Dan. I said it earlier. That's why I'm doing Movember, because it starts at the beginning. Surviving testicular cancer. That's what happened, Dan. I think it's a bit too early for jokes about one ball, but we'll get there eventually. But it's going to happen.
Too soon? Yeah. Too soon.
Maybe not between you and I, but at school, maybe too soon.
Yeah.
But yeah. Does that answered your question? And was there anything else you wanted to say about loyal pupils?
No, I think everything that needed to be said about that has been said about that, unless there's anything else for Livia to add to the discussion there.
We'll see. Someone's asking, Jack is asking, oh my God, what's that in the bottom left corner of Adam's screen?
Bottom left. This is what I view.
Spider on Adam's screen. Apparently a spider is on your screen. I don't know what they mean. A spider? Is there a spider on your screen?
You're going to have to be more specific about what you can see.
Oh my God, spider, Adam, watch out. Behind you. Freddie says behind you. Okay, I don't know what they're talking about. Unless they mean your hair or the flare, the light flare that's like
There's
you're
a light
avoiding by
flare
standing up.
hitting a reflection over there, coming off the picture on the.
No idea what they're talking about.
This over here is a little den for my 3-year-old that was made out of a cardboard box with another large cardboard box sitting on top of it. This is shelves with art supplies on the bottom and, you know, like art and craft kind of things for him on the bottom, and some books. And up at the top, there's some red and blue bucket stilts and a couple of other bits and pieces.
So they're saying, oh my God, that is some fat spider. And then Livia is saying 360 degree of the hair is needed. I think it might be like your hair is looking a bit like a spider.
My hair is going wild at the moment. This is from last lockdown. It's,
now that looks like Jack Nicholson.
I was just I was just getting ready to like go to the barber and get a haircut for the first time in months and months and months, and now we're going straight back into another lockdown. So I'm just gonna have to do it myself with my clippers and see what happens. But it's totally out of control at the moment. Can't do anything with it.
Jack Nicholson. They think that you're a 3-year-old. They think that Albie is in the cardboard box right now.
God, I really hope not. I thought he went out that door.
He did go out that door. I think if a 3-year-old was in the cardboard box, there'd be a lot more noise.
The door's open. Even if he's in there, he can get out.
Oh no. Okay, so Paddy's asked another question. He's asking, has my outlook on life changed as a result of cancer? I think that's what he was saying earlier. Yeah. Do I have a new outlook on life and death after what you've gone through? And then he says, do DMT to reach the afterlife. So do I have a new outlook on life? No. I still wear the skulls. I still think about the death. I mean, death is going to happen to everybody. And by embracing our attitude to death, in my opinion, shapes our attitude to life. And being diagnosed with cancer and recovering and surviving it hasn't changed anything, as far as I'm concerned. I do things like every conversation I have with my parents over the phone, I tell them I love them. And I'm doing that more than I was. And I'm appreciating things like that more. I love being married, and my marriage I think is amazing, and it's brought us closer together, but in some ways, but it hasn't really changed our marriage that much. It's just we love each other and we'll support each other whatever happens. We made those promises, those marriage vows, and we stick by them. I do think though that when I look back at all the things that I've experienced, I think I should be bitter and twisted. I really should. I'd be completely justified in being angry, bitter, twisted, annoyed all the time. And my wife said to me, well, we're not like that. And things like expressing gratitude to each other every day make a huge difference. But, when you say having children.
When you say all the things that you could be bitter and twisted about, what are you referring to exactly?
So not having children or not having your own family yet, and I'm 44.
Yep.
Dealing with cancer.
47.
Davina's dad passing away quite young. He was 58. There's been ups and downs within our marriage. There was a point where my sister and my wife hated each other, and they resolved that. It was like you couldn't have written it. All the things that happened, couldn't have written. A really long, yeah, it was. They hated each other for a long time, yeah. And then they had a massive argument, sorted it all out, or said everything there was to say, and now there's love and respect between them. So it was, and to be fair, one of my line managers said to me, she said I should write a book about everything. And I started to, but then got bored. So I think I'm going to write a series of short stories that are mostly true, but slightly embellished. and put them all together as a kind of disjointed narrative of my life. But that's what I mean. I think, I'd love to be a dad, and I'm not, so I'll be bitter and twisted about it and angry all the time. I think I could be. Oh, I got testicular cancer and I'm recovering and surviving that. Oh, life is just terrible. I should just be annoyed and angry all the time. I think, but we're not. And gratitude really helps. So every day, my wife and I will tell each other what we're grateful for. It's amazing how little things like that make a big difference. So, yeah, that's what I think.
Okay.
And so that was the answer to Paddy's question. It hasn't changed my outlook. I'm still going to be wearing skulls. Now, Paddy's asked another question. He said, I'll donate he hasn't put the comma in, £100,000 if you do DMT with me or LSD. Deadly serious.
Well, I do LSD, but I'm not going to do it with you.
Did you say you would do or you do? I wasn't sure what you said there.
I said I would do LSD, and I have done LSD in the past many times. Not for a long time.
Guys, go back and watch episode 3. Adam talks about his experiences growing up and the effect that school had and all of that. But when was the last time? Not for years.
In my teens, 20-something years ago. Like probably when I was 17 or 18. You know, and I love it. You know, LSD is amazing. But and mushrooms likewise. You know,
they are saying be careful of the spider. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. There's no spider there.
Okay. Well, if it gets me, it gets me. I'm not too worried. I'm the designated person to remove spiders from the house when there are big spiders in the house. Okay. Let's move on from the spider. Yeah, I've done LSD, but the one thing that I'd say is if you do LSD or any other sort of drug of that nature, you want to do it in a safe, any sort of hallucinogen, you know, you want to do it in a safe space. And that primarily, I'd say, is going to be about who you're with. That you want to be with people that you feel totally and utterly comfortable with. Because if you feel awkward, inhibited in any way, that's what's going to give you a bad trip. And so, who was it that asked the question?
It was Paddy.
Paddy,
who asked about donating.
I would do it. I'd probably rather do microdosing these days than the kind of mega dosing that I used to do way back when.
Now,
but I wouldn't do it with him because, you know, I have no relationship with him. I don't even know him, let alone feel totally comfortable with him. It wouldn't be a safe space for me.
Now, my take. Now, we've also had Freddie say, "Are we condoning drugs?" It's much more subtle and complicated than that, or it can be. But we will answer that, but not yet. But for me, like, reality is interesting enough for me. Like, I mean, the stuff that's happened to me recently, like, why? Like, I don't really, and a lot of the interesting research that you guys can read up about microdosing, hallucinogens being used to treat PTSD. So I read The Body Keeps the Score. Livia had
not just PTSD, lots of different kinds. And non-trauma.
Oh, lots of different kinds of trauma, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it enhancing growth and creativity?
Yeah, if we're talking about growth, it's being used therapeutically. It's being used in a way that enables people to grow and develop beyond incidents and events that have not allowed them to move on. And it's allowing people to let go of the past and grow and develop further.
So this is microdosing hallucinogens.
Yeah.
And Livia had actually read The Body Keeps the Score before I had. That's the kind of pupil she is. So in terms of condoning drugs, where I stand on it is the legality of it. I'm interested in the research that's being done about what Adam just mentioned about relieving trauma and the way it's being used. And that is mentioned in the book, The Body Keeps the Score. But yeah, where I stand is if illegal, I'm not going to do it. Now, some mushrooms are totally legal.
I think
Okay.
if memory serves and if nothing's changed, the laws around mushrooms are pretty grey. At least when I was doing mushrooms, which again is 20 something years ago, the laws were you could pick them, you could take them, you couldn't process them in any way, which included drying them.
Okay.
And I'm not even sure if you could remove them from where they were picked. So if you picked them in a field and then took them home, that would also be classed as the illegal activity. But if you picked them and ate them in the field and you stayed in that field until you'd eaten them, then that technically was legal. But I don't know. Like, let me take a swing at the condoning question. Am I condoning? Condoning inherently asks for, is it right, wrong? Is it good, bad? Do you think it's right and wrong? Do you think it's good and bad? And I don't think it's either right or wrong or good or bad. It's illegal. So's driving 71 miles an hour on the motorway. Are you going to drive at 71? Maybe. Do I condone that? Yeah. I don't get angry at other people if they drive at 71. I'm not going to get angry at people if they choose to do mushrooms or any other hallucinogen. Do I think it's good? Do I think it's bad? It really depends. It really depends. I don't think it's quite as black and white. And do I think that you should do it? I don't know. Do I think that you should be responsible if you do? Yeah. I'd be, I'm responsible for what I choose to do, and that includes the legality of it, and that includes the repercussions if I do something illegal. If I get pulled over doing 75 miles an hour, I own that. I may not like it, I may be upset about it, but I was going faster than I should have been, and there are consequences. And if you choose to do a drug, what you're also choosing the consequences. You can't only choose the consequences if you get away with it. So I don't think it's a question of condoning. I think it's a question of responsibility. And at this point, like I say, I haven't done it in 20 something years. I've been reading and listening to some interviews and podcasts around LSD being used, microdosing LSD as a therapeutic treatment, and I'm kind of curious in that. So I'm a bit more curious about microdosing LSD at this point than anything else.
That's really interesting because Livia said that they do shadow work on LSD, but in a therapy room, so there isn't a bad trip. Yeah. Shadow work is something I am interested in. So it's just Star Wars basically, the dark side and all of that. It's all Star Wars, as we all know. So
if you're asking James as Mr. D'Souza, does he condone it? What you're asking for is permission, and and right there, you're not being responsible for your own choices. You're looking for him to be responsible for your choices, which I think is already saying that you're down the wrong path about whether you can, can't, should, shouldn't do anything.
That's a really good point. So Freddie was asking me, do I don't know if he said do I, but do we condone it? I think it was like, are you condoning it? And in some ways that's to find out for himself where he stands on it, but it might also be like asking permission. Well, they said we could, or they said I could, that lets me off the hook. No, that's not what we're saying. Like if you're going to do something, there's whatever action you do, there are going to be consequences. And are you willing to be responsible for the consequences? A lot of people are not. I know plenty of adults who don't want to be responsible for the consequences of their own actions. And it frustrates me a lot. So I think if there's one thing that's going to support growth, it's being willing to be responsible for the consequences of your actions. Growth as a person. To link it back to growth. And
consequences aren't only bad.
Yeah.
Consequences are just the next domino that falls. Consequence. It is a sequence. There is something that happens after I take this action.
Hey, that's good. I never actually noticed that in that word. sequence.
It's a
Yeah.
sequence. You know, you
Yeah.
take this action and that's going to happen. You take this action and that's going to happen. And you may not know which it's going to be, you know, but the next domino is going to fall. You know, the next domino is always going to fall. And, you know, being responsible is owning the dominoes that fall.
It's 9 o'clock.
Already?
Yes, already. It's 9 o'clock.
God, we've hardly gotten into this.
We've hardly got into growth, but
Yeah.
I don't think it matters too much. So if those of you who are still watching, suggestions for what we talk about next week, we'd like to get into more about the economy. Jack Dempsey's written, Adam, you've opened my eyes. I'm not sure to what. Maybe to responsibility and consequences of his actions. Great. Let us know what it is.
Use it like don't walk away from here with some kind of answer. Walk away from here being curious. Walk away from here with questions. Explore it. Open it up for yourself.
Intelligent questions is the way forward. And yeah, you can ask me, or you can ask one of the other heads of six. But yeah, have they written anything else? Oh, Freddie wants us to talk about conspiracy theories. No, I'm not going to.
I'll talk about conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm being slightly facetious there. I love that thing you posted on the WhatsApp group we're in with data, information, insight, wisdom, conspiracy theories. I thought that was great. So what is it? The question? Talk about conspiracy theories. Yes, I agree with Freddie, says Samraj. Maybe no. That was suggestions for the future. So maybe we could revisit that next week.
Yeah,
that might be an idea.
Yeah, let me give them one little bit. Right.
Go on then.
This
is Adam's joining the dots forward.
This is what I'd say about conspiracy theories straight off the bat. I like exploring and entertaining conspiracy theories. You know, whether it's, I don't know, man walking on the moon, flat Earth, 9/11 was a CIA op, like whatever, right? Because ultimately it's a theory. And if you write things off because it's quote unquote a conspiracy theory, it's entirely closed-minded, entirely, just by virtue of having that label. Oh, it's a conspiracy theory. Can't even go there. Like it becomes like a closed subject. It's a theory, and it's a theory about a conspiracy. Okay, let's look at that. I can look at that. I'm an intelligent guy. I can look at it, explore it, get curious about why someone holds that belief, and then, work out for myself, does it make sense to me or not? That's what I'd say about conspiracy theories first off the bat.
Not everybody wants to dig into and look at things and make a choice themselves. Like maybe they want us to tell them what to think. We're not going to do that. Yeah. I mean, we could, but it'd be really boring. You don't want, we want you to start question everything. Question everything. That's what I have said to a lot of people.
Except for your teachers, they won't like that.
No, they won't like that. No.
You should totally question your teachers.
Of course you should. All the teachers, even me. But the Jack, apparently, Adam, Jack Dempsey says you're basically David Icke. Oh dear. Maybe.
I don't think I am really, but okay. I agree with things. I disagree with him on other things. I appreciate his opinion and perspective on things.
I think we should explore the idea of conspiracy theories and maybe talk about interpretation and information next week.
Maybe.
And maybe link it to growth. We kind of got into growth this week.
I'm happy to keep talking about growth if you want to keep talking about growth, either today or next.
Well, let's carry on for a bit. I do want to talk about the whole cancer and economics thing.
Okay,
I
so
think that might be quite a useful thing to end with.
guys, keep asking questions, but we may not take them all.
Yeah, I'll select.
Yeah. All right.
You're trusting me to be the filter.
I'm not looking at them, so you've got to be the filter. You are the gatekeeper.
I am the gatekeeper. Oh God. Yes, I am the gatekeeper. So the thing I wanted to mention about growth and economics is that cancer is cells that grow and keep growing, keep growing, keep growing, and keep growing. I've heard the idea of cancer being related to the economy and a capitalist economy which needs constant, relentless growth. Everything is about growth. You listen to the news, it's all about restoring economic growth. We need to get back to economic growth. We need to stimulate the economy. We need to make sure we achieve economic growth. That's what you hear the news and economists and politicians talking about. And facetiously, I could say what they're saying is they want cancer. They want unending growth. So Adam and I have talked a little bit about the economy and ideas about the economy between ourselves, but you hadn't heard that idea before until I mentioned it to you like 2 weeks ago or a week ago, Adam.
Relating cancer to economic growth, cancer growth to economic. No, I'd not come across that.
What did you think when I told you that?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good. I don't know if it's an accurate analogy, but I think it's a good analogy. I mean, there are definitely big problems with the idea of infinite growth on a finite planet.
Mm.
At some point, it's going to cap out. At some point, it's going to cap out. You can't have infinite growth in a finite planet with finite resources.
And a lot of the time, you just reminded me that one of the things about economic growth is how they measure it. So is it economic growth when one country makes a load of weapons and sells them and gets money for them? Is that economic growth when they're making things that will kill other people? Is that actually growth? So there was a whole discussion about how do you actually measure economic growth? Do you actually start looking at the wider impacts of what's being produced and for what reason and for what purpose? And I think that's quite interesting. Finding other ways of measuring growth, I think, is quite interesting.
I think it's interesting that you say that today, because I think today or yesterday a new measure for GDP was announced.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So they've moved the goalpost. What have they changed it to?
I haven't dug into it. I just had a brief look. It were the example that they were giving in the article that I was reading was instead of just accounting for let's say the price of a table, which I think was the example they were giving, a wooden table, and the rate of the cost of that, but they were also going to be accounting for the price of wood. And apparently it was going to create a more accurate picture of GDP. Now, like I say, I was out by the light railway with my boy earlier, and I didn't dig into it. I was flicking on my phone for a moment, bumped into that. So I don't know. I don't have any more information about that right now.
That's a whole lesson there for me. I can just find the article and put it.
I can forward it to you. It came from an email from the ONS.
Oh, that's a good source. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I'll probably use that in the lesson at some point. So it's I was talking about Clifton strengths earlier. Adam, in one of the talents he has, themes he has, is learner, digging into things, a specific topic, going really deeply into it, and then moving on to the next thing and going really deeply into it. And one of the things Adam is interested in at the moment is the economy and the potential ramifications on life, the universe, and everything. And now he's looking at his phone.
Right now, I'm trying to find that email for you. I'll forward it to you.
Okay, cool. While you do that, I've been asked, what happened to the other guy on your live? Did you just ditch him?
Are they talking about Willem?
They're talking about Willem. Adam and I talk on a Tuesday, and we're joining Dots Forward. Willem and I talk on a Sunday, and we do teaching tangents. And we haven't done the past couple of Sundays recently because he's been traveling and not near a computer. But we'll be back.
Definitely haven't ditched Willem in any way. He's also one of my best friends, so I wouldn't want to see him get kicked off the team.
No, I think hang on. I met him through you, didn't I?
Yeah, almost certainly.
Probably. Yeah. Maybe we should.
He
all
was
get on.
he was my housemate
For how long?
about 4 years.
Was it that long? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give or take, between about 2005 and 2009, he was my housemate.
So we all should get on a call. Trump or Biden?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that.
Said Freddie.
But I have American citizenship. Oh, you still there? Is this frozen? Well, this is concerning. I think we're still live, but we seem to have lost James. Freddie, give me a comment if you can still see me, hear me. Oh. It looks like Zoom kicked us out and James is coming back in.
Am I back?
You're back.
Oh my God, that was so funny. So I'm on my phone. Our internet has completely disappeared.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and
We're still recording.
I'm pretty sure it's still streaming too.
Okay. So
I can't.
James, I got back before you and I said, I asked if anyone could still hear us and they're saying yes. And well, this is awkward. Yeah, it is a bit awkward, hey? So can you tell us?
I might be back too.
No, I have no idea. My contacts from 20 years ago are long gone. I got no contacts in any way, shape or form these days. We're about to say Trump or Biden. Freddie asked Trump or Biden. Okay, so
he did. So I'm on my phone now because my internet's died. So
right. So I can vote in the US. I get to vote in the US.
Yeah.
And actually this year I chose to abstain. I didn't vote. For me, they're both pretty bad candidates. Like really, that's as good as we can get in the whole of the US. That they're the best two people that we could find to represent the two major parties. I also get to vote in a overwhelmingly blue state. So regardless of which way I voted, my mail-in ballot wouldn't really have made any significant difference. So for me, given those two things, I just decided not to vote this year. So Trump or Biden, neither.
The American system is a little bit more complicated and different than I know. But everybody watching, you should just go watch The West Wing, essential viewing. I've yet to finish it all, which Adam is despairing about.
So difficult.
I'm in season.
James.
I'm season 3 of not Sorry. I'm blaming my wife because she doesn't enjoy it. That's my excuse, which is a poor excuse, really.
I've started dipping in and out of episodes recently, just for fun, late at night. Just put on an episode and then.
By the way, Adam, when the connection went, did you fill the space?
No,
Or did you
mine
just-
froze.
because I
It
can
froze.
see the live video. Oh, I see. Okay.
No,
Now I'm
it
back.
froze at my end. I stayed here for a few seconds waiting to see if it was going to reconnect. It didn't, and then I exited and came back in. I'm really surprised that it was still recording and on YouTube.
Oh, I can see it's streamed from my phone and it flicks when we're speaking, so it's a different view rather than us both together. Live and learn with technology, I guess. And I can't see the comments anymore, but you can.
Oh, I can, but I haven't
If
been.
there are any more.
Yeah, there are. Electoral college is a joke, says Freddie. Josh Redwood says, "What's your opinion on feminists?"
He's just goading. Ignore him. We can get to that later.
Fine. And then Jack Dempsey says, "Have any of you seen Breaking Bad?"
Obviously, obviously, I got very irritated with a student one year, and because he wasn't doing much work and he was binge watching Breaking Bad, so I spoiled the last 3 episodes for him. That's how I roll. Because he was being really irritating. And then a couple of years ago, 2 sixth formers spoiled Avengers Endgame for me as well, which I was very irritated about.
Okay, they're all asking. I think they're asking me to do a Joker impression. Not quite sure they want me to.
Oh, because of the hair.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? But there you go.
A Joker impression. Yeah, but will they get that one?
No, they're not going to get that reference. If they're your students now, they're all too young to get that Joker reference.
Yeah,
you guys are going to have to go and do your research.
They are. This is probably a group of students that think Star Wars 1, 2, 3 is superior than 4, 5, 6. I was having that discussion with a bunch of year 13s, and they were like 1, 2, 3 are way better than 4, 5, 6.
Breaking Bad is greater than Game of Thrones, which I think that shorthand is better than Game of Thrones. I'd probably agree in terms of the TV show. I disagree in terms of the books. I think the Song of Ice and Fire is superior to Breaking Bad, the TV show.
I'd agree with that, having read them all. Yeah. Besides, The Sopranos is the best. Then it's The Wire. Then maybe Breaking Bad. That's how it works in my world. Only because I haven't seen all the West Wing, just so we're clear.
And I've never seen The Sopranos, so, I'll accept it. Why not?
Right, let's wrap it up because I need to get some sleep.
Okay, we didn't really get very far on the economics of things.
No, but I did find out that there's a new measure for GDP.
Yeah, I think for your students, and maybe for you if you've never seen it either, I think the single best thing that you could possibly go and watch if you want to talk about infinite growth. We live in a paradigm where, economically speaking, you need to have infinite growth, and yet we live on a finite planet with finite resources. The primary of which is oil and is running out. I think the single best thing that you could watch on that is called The Crash Course. You'll find it on YouTube. It's by Chris Martinson. I think his YouTube channel is Peak Prosperity. You can either watch the short version, which is like an hour and a half presentation, or you can watch the full version, which is about, 15, 30-minute segments or 20-minute segments or something like that. I forget. It's pretty long if you want to go through all 15 or 20 of them. But it goes into a lot of depth, and it's incredibly well thought through and incredibly
How
good,
much
incredibly
understanding of economics do you need to be able to follow it? Any?
None.
Okay, perfect. That's good to know. We've been asked to appear on the podcast. The school have got a podcast. The sixth form has started a podcast. I don't know if it's me or you, Adam, or both of us, but if we can work out a time, would you want to do it?
Sure.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that. So next week we'll talk a bit. I think we should talk about interpretation and information and conspiracy theories and data.
Great.
And see where it goes. Yeah, this is the point of joining the Dots Forward. there.
Yeah.
So thank you as ever. And
Next week at or maybe just after 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, yeah. And it's meant to be an hour, but it ends up being longer.
Yeah, I mean, you and I start at 8 and we tend to have a couple of minutes before we go live. But if everyone else wants to come back and join us, be here and ready at from 8, and we'll start the live stream probably a few minutes after.
Yeah, and I'll see what I can add links to books and things we talked about in the show notes. And if you want to, you can subscribe to my channel, but this might get spun off into another channel. So if you think it's useful, leave a comment, do what you like.
Yeah, let us know what you found useful, what you found interesting.
Let me know tomorrow if you see me in school. Sorry?
I said, it'd be really great for people to let us know what you found useful or what you found interesting. That'll help inform us as to what you might want us to talk about as we go forward. And then obviously don't forget to donate to Movember.
Very good. All right.
All right. See you next Tuesday.
Exactly.
See you next Tuesday.
That still makes me laugh. It's so childish, but yes.